Tristan Schaefer-Goldman, and I'm playing Casanova.
I'm Carla Fiorletta. I play the Warden.
I'm Kit Bromovsky, and I play Karina.
I'm Eleanor Bennett, and I play Lucia.
And I'm Steven Zuccaro, and I play Angelo.
Oh, Giacomo, you've done it this time.
Apparently so. I had no idea cheating at an unimportant game of cards was such a heinous crime.
It is when you're caught.
5 years? Really? 5 years? I'll be 35. My God, the better half of my life gone. Poof!
I've never heard of such a stiff sentence, not for cards. It must be your libertine ways, Giacomo. Libertine indeed. I tell you truthfully, I'd give up 5 years of my life to lead just one of yours.
It's stifling hot up here.
We're at the very top floor of the Duke's palace. The only thing between us and the Venice sun is lead.
Well, it will never work. 5 years. The only lead that will keep me here 5 years will come from the barrel of a musket.
I'd hate to be the one to do it, but of course I will. Tell me, Giacomo, which was the most beautiful woman you persuaded to share pleasantries with?
All women are beautiful to me, sir.
But wasn't there one more beautiful, more wonderful than all the rest?
All women are wonderful in their own way, sir.
But was there one that aroused you more than the others?
If I have any weakness at all, it is that all women arouse me, sir. Now tell me, is it true the Duke's daughter's bedroom is beneath the prison cell?
Ever the adventurer. Don't excite yourself. There's stone between your cell and the floor beneath, quite impenetrable. Even for a man of your talent, getting into ladies' bedrooms. Giacomo, a word about your cellmate.
Cellmate?
His name is Angelo Suffrenza.
Suffrenza? The Duke of...
The very one.
I think I've heard this story.
A sad one indeed.
To do with a woman.
2 women.
Stories of women delight me. Tell me.
The Duke was a young man, just 17, when he met Karina. Karina was the lovely daughter of the Duke of Parma. She was barely 15 herself when they met at the Festival of San Ranieri in the city of Pisa.
The Festival of Lights. I've been there myself.
Well, perhaps it was the flickering candles on Karina's tender face that enchanted the young Duke, for he fell madly in love with her.
A weakness I share.
And perhaps it was the delight she saw in his face that caused her to fall as deeply in love. The courtship lasted only 1 month before the young man asked Karina's father for her hand in marriage. Of course, the Duke of Parma was delighted. He not only gained a husband for his daughter, but an alliance for Parma.
Always convenient to kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
The girl was delighted as well, for she truly adored her young knight. There was a great wedding ceremony, 2 great wedding ceremonies, one in each principality. Pope De Luca officiated at both.
I once bedded his daughter.
3 months had gone by that Karina was happily with child.
I'm beginning to suspect all was not well in fairyland.
Indeed, the hand of unhappiness strikes with suddenness and without pity. A beguiling nun by the name of Leandra arrived in the town.
Nuns are the worst.
Even her habit was insufficient to mask the treasures beneath the black.
I know the rest of the story.
Young Angelo soon fell for the alluring nun.
One can reasonably surmise she became his habit.
Indeed. At first, the trips to the monastery were honest enough. The little nuns baked the most delicious bread for the palace. Weekly trips turned into daily trips, and morning trips turned into evening and then nightly trips.
Ah, to have that stamina again.
Need I go on? The boy was hooked.
Who could blame him?
Of course, suspicion soon arose. The girl's father followed Angelo out of the palace one moonlit night. Karina knew in her sobbing heart something was wrong. She confided to her handmaiden Angelo had lost interest in her. At first, it was what she perceived as a deformity of her body. When she smelled lavender on his tunic, she knew it was more serious, so she followed her father into the night.
One should never follow a father into the night. You never know what he's up to.
The old man followed Angelo to the barn behind the nunnery. There was Leandra laying in the hay in all her naked splendor.
Hell hath no wider door.
To his dismay, he saw Angelo waste no time. In an instant, he was naked himself.
Understandable.
In the same instant, he realized Karina was standing beside him. The cries, the wails went straight to heaven. Angelo confessed his fickle love had turned from his lovely wife to Leandra, who had by now escaped back to the monastery.
A young girl's broken heart pains even the fallen angels.
Karina, severely faint of breath, ran nevertheless through the streets and alleys of Parma. Cries and lamentations echoed throughout the ancient village. When then she came upon the bridge over the river Taro, her ancient father tried, but had not caught up to the grief-stricken girl. She proceeded onto the middle of the span, stopped, peered into the flowing torrent. No! No! Screamed her loving father. But it was too late. Karina jumped.
She drowned.
Alas, a slender hand protruded out of the raging waters, a final farewell wave to her stricken father. Angelo arrived moments later. There was no sign of the girl. His wife, the mother of his unborn child, was gone, never to be seen again.
And the vixen?
The Duke convened a court of justice, accusing Angelo of causing the death of his beloved Karina.
Understandable.
The whole town of Parma stood breathless in court. What do you have to say for yourself? Thundered the Doge. Are you responsible for the death of dear Karina? Angelo, with tears flowing down his face like water over a falls, stood before the transfixed crowd. I am guilty. Guilty of passion. Guilty of loving two women.
Indeed, loving two women does present a problem. One or the other is almost always shortchanged.
The Doge wasted no time. He said directly to the young man before him, "This is a court of law. We judge crimes against people and property here, not crimes of the heart. I find you committed no crime in the legal sense. God will judge you in his own time. It is with heavy heart I am compelled to dismiss this case. Go and sin no more."
Interesting.
The Duke collapsed when the Doge uttered the acquittal.
As would have I.
Angelo, still standing, then asked to be heard.
Go on.
He spoke gravely, saying, "Your Majesty, my crime has been a grave one," he said. "For what greater offense can there be than to hurt the one who loves you?" The crowd murmured in agreement. By breaking her dear heart, I declare myself guilty, guilty of ending my wife's young life.
Affairs of the heart are always tragic.
The Doge got up, pointed his finger at Angelo, and declared, "Well then, a confession. The law is a balance of truth and fairness. I cannot condemn you to death, as certainly you did not strike the blow that killed Karina. But I can sentence you to 10 years in prison for causing her to take her own life."
Is any woman worth 10 years? 5, maybe. On the other hand,
Ever since that eventful day, Angelo has sat in that cell, writing letters of supplication, seeking the forgiveness of his dead wife.
well, he'll be waiting a long time, I suspect. The deceased don't often answer letters. Tell me, did the vixen, Leandra, have a mole about here on the side of her cheek?
Why, yes, she did.
And was her bosom particularly robust, like this?
Indeed.
And was one breast slightly larger than the other?
Why, yes, certain features a man does not forget. Did you know her? This was 7 years ago.
Indeed, I knew such a woman. She told me a similar story that fit like a piece in a puzzle. She was married at the time to a rich Venetian. Wealthy though the Venetian was, he refused to spend money, keeping her instead like a poor stable woman, only calling upon her for his carnal amusement. So great was her displeasure that she escaped to Padua, there hid in a nunnery. She had no plan to return to the frugal old trader until the tragic events you have relayed to me occurred.
Amazing. And what happened next? How did you come to know her?
Well, when she returned from Padua after the tragic demise of the sweet Carina, the rich trader showered her with jewels, fine silks, and golden bracelets. He vowed never to be stingy with her again.
And?
She manifested her, how do you say, appreciation in the way women are known to do.
In bed.
The fat fellow's heart stopped from the agitation.
What a fortunate way to go.
I happened to be riding by the palace on my way to Bologna that very moment to a much anticipated game of cards when Leandra yelled out from her balcony for help. I ran up the stairs to find the traitor dead as a doornail on the floor.
And?
And Leandra naked as the plain truth. She hadn't reached, how do you say?
Ecstasy?
Exactly. So I...
Helped her.
Exactly.
You are quite a hero, Giacomo.
She rewarded me with 10,000 ducats, which I promptly lost at the card game in Bologna. By the time I returned to her side, the traitor had been buried and she was gone. To Barcelona, I'm told. I thought of following, but came here instead.
To be convicted in another game of cards. Gambling shall be your downfall, Giacomo.
If I must fall, let it be shot through the heart by some aggrieved husband.
Casanova, before entering the cell, let me advise you, the man you're about to encounter has aged 40 years in just 5. So profound has been his mourning.
Best I not tell him I fornicated with Leandra.
No, please, no. Be gentle with him. He rips up the letters he writes and tosses them out every day.
Why?
The words fail to convey the deep sorrow in his heart. I am brought to tears myself.
Don't worry. I'll be most considerate of his emotions. I'll try to cheer him. I won't mention Leandra by name, not even the mole, only the humorous circumstances of our encounter.
Thank you. Come, follow me.
Tell me, does he play cards?
Dear sister, the boy loved you, indeed still loves you, adores your very memory.
I know. I'm evil at the core, but the truth would have been more hurtful. Oh, woe is me.
Who is he? Poor Angelo has sat in that dreadful dungeon all these years, blaming himself for your death.
I know.
And the death of his unborn child. You know he writes you letters every day?
Well, so I've heard.
The warden says Angelo feels his language so inadequate to express the profundity of his sorrow that he rips them up no sooner than he finishes, then starts all over again.
I wish it could have been different. If only I could start my life all over again.
What sin could have been so terrible that you would put the boy through such suffering?
Dear sister, not even you can confide in my wickedness.
Unburden, Carina. The tomb's no confessional. You mustn't carry this blackness to the grave. Worms have no ears. Have you at least gone to confession?
I did.
With who? Could not have been here in Padua. Everyone attended your funeral service. The priests and monks repeated the rosary twice, once for you and once for your unborn.
I'm doomed.
Indeed you are. Who heard your confession?
On the road to Verona, I came across a chapel on the side of the road. The priest, a Carthusian, agreed to listen.
And?
I'm not sure it was a good confession, Lucia. Even that tortures me, for I was
Well, what?
circumspect.
Circumspect? What does circumspect mean?
Well, I couldn't bring myself to fill in the details. Not all of them. Anyway, he was nearly deaf and almost blind.
A perfect confessor.
Another reason I'm not sure mine was a good confession. Does this mean I'm doomed to relieve my transgression over and over?
Well, it was very much like lying. Dear sister, you're lost.
Of course I didn't lie. I just didn't colour the whole painting. But the highlights were true. True as the night is cosy. Well, mostly true. Oh, Lucia, I'm doomed! And, the transgression still sort of arouses a sort of smile.
Tell me, Karina, before I faint of curiosity, how did you do it? And then you must tell me why you perpetrated such a grievous deceit. But for now, tell me how. You were seen jumping off the bridge. You were seen swept away. Your final wave farewell was seen as well. How did you manage?
Well, it was prearranged.
Prearranged? You planned to feign a drowning?
Indeed, sister. I was waiting for the opportunity.
Opportunity?
To have an excuse. When Angelo gave in to his bursting manhood with that horrid nun, I had the excuse I needed. I had suspected Angelo was being unfaithful. He was always so tired, so wilted after the bun errands to the nunnery. Then I smelled the lavender and I knew. He had dishonoured me. Me, my father, our 500-year-old family. It was the excuse I needed and I acted.
Blessed Mother in heaven, may it never happen to me.
So we arranged with Dominic de Peto for a cart to carry me and a few belongings to Verona.
Dominic? The plasterer?
Father also suspected something amiss in Angelo's all too frequent trips to the nunnery. Then he came to my bedroom one night to give me the heartbreaking news. I cried until my eyes bulged.
Dear sister.
Was it me, I wondered? Was there something in the habit that I lacked?
Oh my, no.
I cried, but I also saw my opportunity.
Opportunity?
Yes, opportunity. I persuaded Father the embarrassment of Angelo's unfaithfulness would be insufferable. So I convinced him I should disappear.
Disappear?
Father arranged an apartment for me in Verona, near the Ponte San Francesco.
He did?
Signor de Peto was waiting for me at the far end of the bridge.
But the drowning?
I never jumped. No one actually saw me in the river. They all believed Daddy.
But Angelo saw your slender hand wave out from under the raging river.
No. Daddy told him I had waved farewell.
And Angelo believed it?
Well, his heart was already torn from his infidelity.
So he believed.
At first, Father and I spoke of giving up the child for adoption. He'd be well taken care of. Father assured me the child would never want for anything. But when I gave birth, the look in his eyes, I knew I would never give him up. So he remains with me to this day and all is well.
Amazing.
It was an arduous journey, all the way to Verona in the small cart, me with child. I felt every bone and bump and stump along the way. They reminded me of my deceit. Then I saw the little chapel and the old priest tending his tomatoes. He could barely move, and I knew he would be a kind confessor.
But why? Why did you not simply have the child and declare Angelo the father?
Oh, we were barely 3 months married, little sister. How would it have looked to give birth so soon after our nuptials?
A brow raiser for sure.
The Duke was so sweet and so inexperienced.
Then how? How did it happen? And who?
It happened at the Carnival de Venezia.
The masquerade ball?
I had so looked forward to it. For weeks in advance, I worked feverishly on my costume. It was regal and flowed behind me as we entered the Doge's palazzo. The mask of Colombina was decorated with emeralds and rubies. It covered only my eyes and part of my face, so that the crimson rosetta of my lips would be prominent on display.
I remember the carnival. Father wouldn't let me go. Too young, he said. Too young for such frivolity.
Well, it was a dreamlike affair. I danced with every charming boy in the grand ballroom.
Oh, what a dream!
But there was one who looked at me with such as I had never seen. He dressed in the manner of a French noble, a red coat, a half mask like mine, and his pants were so tight I could see the configuration of his...
Yes? Of?
Well, he took my hand, gently led me to the dance floor, and they played a waltz, a Vienna waltz. You know how I cannot resist a waltz.
Yes. And?
Before I knew it, I had melted into his arms. Then...
Yes. Then?
he kissed me, sweetly. I could taste the wine on his soft lips. It was a sweet...
A Moscato?
so sweet.
And then?
His hands found themselves about my most private parts.
No!
I could not resist. My whole body seemed to explode with desire.
What?
He lifted me off my feet, carried me onto the porch overlooking the pond beside the palazzo.
Don't stop.
Those were my very words. Don't stop. Little did I know it, my life was over. Forever. In the father of the sun,
So you...
lost it. There, on the porch, in the flicker of the torches to violins in the sky, a blanket of stars enveloping me.
I hope I lose it that way too. And who was this stranger, sister?
I don't know.
Not even his name?
He left me there, in ecstasy, exhausted, fulfilled, pregnant.
But who was he?
I do not know. When I came to my senses, he was gone. All the remains and memories, and the baby.
Well, you simply cannot let Angelo spend the rest of his days rotting in a prison cell. We must go there this very day.
I cannot.
You must, sister.
I can't. But I must, I know. It's why I'm here, to make amends, if mending is in the heart of dear Angelo.
I know he'll understand. Come, let's go. I'll attend to the warden.
This will not be easy.
Oh, there's another prisoner with Angelo, a fellow, his name is Casanova.
Casanova?
I'll keep him busy while you have your time with Angelo. Bring the child. He'll be disarmed at the sight of his child.
Are you sure we should do this? I'm torn. Would that I could start the story over.
Especially the carnival part. Come.
don't know how he'll react to a roommate, Giacomo. The young nobleman has been alone in there for these 5 years.
If it were me, I'd be thankful for the company.
He's a strange fellow. After all, he hasn't known much of life.
Well, there was the nun.
A jump start, I would say. From the frying pan into the fire.
Interesting choice of words, Warden. I take it the young princess was
Blossoming.
a spring flower in a verdant field. Oh, well,
Most of us have a period of development with the fairer sex, you know? He had none. I would guess. Boyhood one moment, married the next. No chance to flower.
I remember my sprouting well. Started inauspiciously enough. An interest in the miller's daughter next door.
A sneak peek.
An unruly organ I desperately tried to hide. In mixed company, that is.
Casanova, you take me back to my boyhood. I walked around so often like a hunchback. Mother thought my spine had curved.
How I miss those innocent stirrings. The flutter.
One day she took me to the doctor. There I stood stark naked. I could not help but grow a spindle right there.
Mine has always been my dearest friend, especially on lonely nights and long trips.
The learned doctor declared there was nothing wrong with me a good wanking wouldn't cure.
I used to call mine Dick until I was 21. Now it's Richard. I introduce him to my lovers as Richard the First.
It got wanked so often, it really did curve my spine.
Young, all too quickly come and gone.
Thankfully, we'll always have our Richards. I think I hear Angelo in there.
I've grown old. Life flows away from me like urine down the privy.
Now listen, let me introduce you. I'll smooth the way, as it were. I'll tell him the doctor has determined it is necessary for his good health to share the cell. Aloneness is neither natural nor healthy.
Well said. I agree completely.
He being young royalty and you being, well, not being royalty, he will get the bunk to sleep on if he chooses not to share.
What? And me? Where will I sleep?
There's a cozy spot near the latrine.
Latrine? Are you serious?
Look at it this way. You won't have far to go on cold nights.
Impossible! I protest!
There's a stone cover on the seat. You won't smell a thing. Frankly, given the Duke's state of mind, I would opt for the cozy corner spot if I were you.
Angelo Suffrenza, Duke of Parma, I assume.
Allow me to make the introductions.
1,000 pardons, go right ahead.
Your Excellency, allow me to introduce Signor Giacomo Casanova, a Venetian. Your Excellency, sir?
I am to be your roommate, sir. Excuse me, cellmate. Assuming we can work out satisfactory sleeping arrangements. Sir?
Well, I can see this is going to work out just fine. Have a good day, both of you.
Pardon me. A word?
I am sorry, there are no other accommodations, Giacomo.
But the man is torpid. Look at him.
He'll hear you.
Oh? The comatose here?
I'm sorry, Giacomo, but there are no other accommodations.
Is hanging an option?
Lucia, I don't think I can do this.
Of course you can do it, dear sister. You must.
I must, I know, but I can't, so I won't.
Karina, stop. You must, you know, and you can, so you will. And I'll be right outside the cell if you need me.
He'll hate me.
Most likely he will. You did, after all, ruin his life. All for a moment of pleasure, sheer ecstasy under a blanket of stars.
It's reminding me.
Just stick to the story.
Oh, dear sister, I can't think. Much less lie.
Sister, there are times a fantabulous lie is preferred to the naked truth. This is such a time.
Yes, of course you're right. What was the story again?
When you learned he had been rolling about naked with that gorgeous nun, you were overwhelmed with hurt. The pain, the sorrow was so deep, your only thought was running away.
And so I ran. And the child?
You couldn't bring yourself to tell him that the same maypole that had touched that witch had also blessed you with the promise of a baby.
I'm in tears.
You simply lost your senses. You ran and ran and ran until you could no longer run.
Well, that's almost true.
Now, let's to the jail. We must convince the warden to let us in.
Where did I wind up when I ran away?
It doesn't matter where you went. What matters is you returned with haste when you heard that he had been consigned to this horrid prison.
But there are so many holes in the story.
It doesn't matter, Karina. Let your tears flow in abundance. Inundate him with the watery manifestation of your broken heart.
Tears.
Tears always work. Just fall to your knees, dear sister. Wrap your arms around his legs and beg that he forgive you. Can you do that?
St. Jude, patron saint of lost causes, hear my prayer.
I heard the story of your misfortune. Hello? A man should never put all his eggs, as it were, in a woman's basket. They are bound to be broken. That's what happened to you, if I may dare to say. Look at you, broken, the shadow of a young steed, the remnants of a youthful breath of air. All why? Because you dipped your pen in one too many inkwells? What? Oh, come, man. I've dipped mine in so many I carry a permanent tincture. My lovers call me Peacock. That was a jest, Angelo. Now listen, we need to work out sleeping arrangements. I am simply not going to sleep in a corner beside a latrine. My preference is not to share that tiny bunk, but if worse comes to worse, which it has, I'll yield. Unless you prefer the...
I am woe.
What?
I am woe.
So I've heard.
My life's but an afterglow of happier times.
Oh, come, man, snap out of this sorry state.
Karina was a lovely vision from first I saw her in her father's garden. She stood amidst the rose bushes.
Was she smelling the flowers?
She carried a basket of the flowers she had picked that morning. I approached her with great apprehension, not sure what words to utter by way of introduction.
A woman should never be approached with apprehension. A woman should always be approached with a smile and one arm behind your back, like this.
Why with an arm behind your back?
It creates an air of mystery. She wants to know what you're concealing.
And
when she tries to catch a glimpse, one playfully turns like this. Then, when she's in position, an unexpected kiss on the neck, and she's yours.
I see.
I learned that trick from a wiry man in Rimini. Unfortunately for him, he demonstrated that little trick for my benefit on the wrong woman, as her husband shot him dead on the spot. Go on with your story.
It's not a long story. Our romance was short. I fell madly in love with the beauty. Her name was Karina. She was the first woman and the only woman for whom I felt such tender feelings. It was as though I had been intoxicated by some potion, for all I could think of was her. From my first waking moment, it was her vision before me. And it was she I painted in my mind's eye last thing at night before falling into happy slumber.
I would say you were bitten.
Alas, I could stand it no longer.
A familiar feeling.
I went to the palazzo where she lived and requested an audience with her father. I told him my love for his daughter knew no limit. I begged he allow me to walk with her in the garden so that if she felt any feeling for me at all, I might ask her to marry me, unworthy though I be.
Innocently, of course.
Our walks amongst the flagrant floor were a happy dream. I was drunk with passion, sir. Can you understand?
Well,
I asked for her hand in marriage, and we were wed soon after. Oh, woe is me.
tell me, did you taste the forbidden fruit before tying the knot?
I did not. I was young and inexperienced in the ways of amour. Even our first night as man and wife was awkward. I did my best, but in all honesty, it was awkward.
It's always awkward the first time. Did it get easier?
Then, oh, whoa,
What? What is it?
she came into my life.
The nun.
She was a walking pleasure dome.
Did she have a mole about here and a left breast larger than the right?
As you might imagine, I could not stay away.
I know how hard it can be to break that particular bad habit.
Did you know her?
No, of course not.
Then how did you know about the mole and the...
Those are simply attributes of walking pleasure domes. Go on with your story.
Well, at first, it was just buns.
It always starts that way. Buns.
First time we
Immersed yourselves in sin.
well, it was just
Eviscerating.
exactly. She was well practiced in the dark arts. I was her slave.
Oh my, stop.
No good could come from it. My dear wife's father.
Discovered you stark naked with the mother of lust.
Why, yes. How did you know?
He told his daughter the hard truth of his discovery. The sweet girl with a shattered heart jumped off the bridge over the river Taro and took her young life along with your unborn child.
Oh, woe is me.
Signor, you really should take the spot beside the latrine.
I've written to my dear Karina every day since, asking forgiveness from her cloud in heaven for my grievous sin of lust over love.
There's a stone cover to keep the cold air out on cold nights. What's that? I hear voices in the vestibule.
My life will never be the same.
I think I hear the warden. And female voices. My goodness, have I grown mad already?
Leave it to me, dear sister. I'll tell the warden that you're my servant and that the child is the notorious Casanova's. We've come to insist that he accept his paternal responsibilities.
Do you think the warden cares about such matters? It's well known no visitors are permitted.
I'll be a pleasant supplicant, but if needed, will employ the persuasiveness accorded to my station in life. He will dare not anger me.
Yes,
Good day, kind sir. We've come to pay a visit for one of your visitors. Prisoners?
go away.
I beg your pardon, our visit cannot be put off. It treats a matter of great importance.
Go away, I said.
I beseech you, kind sir, open this door so that I may explain the circumstances of our urgency.
No visitors allowed. None.
Is please a word in your position is acquainted with?
Perhaps you need a lesson in no. No is no. It's not maybe or perhaps. It's no. Now go away before I put the dogs on you.
Apparently, I've failed to make my point. We need to see Casanova now. He's father to this child and must take appropriate responsibility. So open the door.
Calm, Lucia.
That man's an ass. More of an ass than the one I sit on. At least open the door so we can argue our case.
Go away.
I insist, knave.
Did you call me knave? I am a man to be respected and feared.
As are all men, to be respected and feared, as you say. Is the man who left this poor woman and child to be respected? To fend inadequately for herself and his child in a world too busy to care about women and children left to subsist on the charity of...
Be that as it may, no visitors are allowed. As for you, young woman, perhaps your bastard boy will serve as caution to keep your passions cool and your legs buttoned.
Well, there may be some truth to that.
How dare you? My handmaiden, sir, is a most honorable woman.
Honorable women roam all over Padua with bastard children in tow. Now get out of here before I lose my patience.
I can see we are not getting anywhere. I had hoped to spare you, but you leave me no choice. Do you know who I am?
No, but ask me if I know what you are.
I am my father's daughter, knave.
I would have never guessed. Now, if you will please leave so I can get back to my duties.
It's obvious you don't know who my father is.
Right again. I'm nearing the end of my rope. Another thumb and I'll be there.
Perhaps we can return.
Impudent, sir.
Impudent.
I order you.
Order me?
Yes, order. My father, sir, is His Excellency, the Duke of Parma, and I am his...
I know, the fairy queen. Now out.
How insolent, sir! I am...
About to feel the toe of my boot in the small of your arse.
It's true, sir. Do not jeopardize your employ. This is Lucia, the Duke's daughter.
And you are?
I am her maid.
Well, you dress well for a servant. Satin, isn't it? Perhaps you can persuade the Duke to find employment for my dear wife. She mops extraordinarily well.
Perhaps if we tell the warden the truth, he will yield to our request.
The truth?
The truth we are about to reveal to you can never be revealed beyond, sir. Do you swear upon your dear wife's immortal soul to keep our secret to yourself?
No problem. Go ahead.
Upon pain of death?
My wife's death, yes.
The child is Lady Lucia's. The consequence of her
Indiscretion.
must never get out, sir. It would bring dishonour to the Duke and undoubtedly land your head in the guillotine.
No, the wheel. It will land your worthless body on the wheel.
I'm told, before you breathe your last breath, every bone in your body has been broken. Blow after blow, every excruciating bone smashed.
Would you risk that fate?
Well, you both dress better than the average. Satin, is it? I do see some resemblance in the boy's face. Here, bring him closer. Yes, does resemble very much Casanova's eyes. Turn his head. The profile could be his. And the lips seem much like yours, young lady. I'm starting to believe this sordid tale.
The wheel, sir? Avoid the wheel. Grant us this simple accommodation. The saints and angels are watching.
Saints and angels too, I do feel a strange warmth upon my head. Well, all right. But Casanova is not alone in that cell. He shares his fate with another royal. Angelo, a young prince of Padua, who has been incarcerated all these years, mourning the death of his young wife.
Well, then bring Signor Casanova out here. Karina can keep the Duke company while these matters are resolved. I have some experience with a broken heart, and she may well assuage his loneliness.
Out here, but...
If he refuses to accept the responsibility of his obligation, then I shall leave and never acknowledge his existence again.
I'd give him the wheel.
Will you do it?
All right, I'll do it. I freely admit I'd like to see the look on Casanova's face when he looks down upon the familiar eyes of his offspring. His pecker has caught up with him.
That will never do, sir.
Never do.
These are such private matters.
Private?
I must insist you wait outside, so that we may be closeted with our secret tales.
Oh well, all right. I'll go and inform the prisoners if the visits they are about to incur. I'll bring Casanova out here and leave him in your care, Signora. But I warn you to be careful. Casanova has a power over women. You may wind up with a brother to your boy.
Well, now it's up to you, dear sister.
God, give me strength. And angels, soften my dear Angelo's heart for the pain I'm about to inflict.
Pardon my intrusion, Your Excellency. And you, Giacomo.
Is my sentence up?
I'm afraid to bring you bad news, Giacomo. Your sentence is just about to begin.
Just about to begin? Lord, my law-breaking was only at cards!
Apparently it was that ace in the hole.
You mock my misfortune.
Or maybe it was an inside straight.
Angelo, our keeper, has lost his wits.
Be that as it may, the cards are stacked against you this time, Casanova.
Be clear, Warden. What is your purpose?
2 visitors, one of which has come to lay claim upon Casanova's life.
My life?
I suspect at least one of the 2 will be familiar. At least some part will be recalled.
Perhaps you'll share the reason for your good humor. Who visits?
I'll leave that reveal to the ladies. Yes, you heard me right. Ladies, control yourselves. I know it's been a while, especially you, Giacomo.
What ladies?
Are they clad in habits?
I'll bring the one in here while the other interviews Casanova in the antechamber.
Are they from or on their way to the nunnery?
Beware the wheel, Casanova.
The wheel? What strange talk is this?
I would not refuse them if I were you, Giacomo. You might never know the joy of a solid bone again.
He talks in riddles.
At my expense, I'm afraid.
I'll fetch the one and deliver you to the other, Excellency. Don't even let the thought of escape enter your mind, Giacomo. I know you've escaped prisons before, but you would never make it out of this palazzo. The dogs...
What kind of man do you take me for? Do you think I would escape with a woman about to visit?
Just saying.
What could this be all about? Have you a clue?
None. But if it's female company he brings, I say let's not look a gift horse in the mouth.
I'm cliched to the point of nausea.
Come with me, Casanova.
The moon aligned with Scorpio. Therein must be the explanation to this all.
Angelo?
Oh, Spirit, forgive me.
It is me, dear Angelo.
Oh, even in death you be a vision of loveliness.
It is me, Angelo. Not dead. Alive.
Lest this be a dream, dear wife. You've been spared the ravages of worms.
My dear husband.
Love thee as I did in life. I'm afraid, Spirit. Leave me.
Do not be afraid. It is me. Has he forgotten the sweet moments?
Away! Go away, cruel spirit!
The sweet moments we shared in love, in each other's arms, man and wife.
I remember all too well, strange apparition. Even harder to reconcile, my heart still beats while yours is still and cold as night.
I'm not cold. Touch me.
Whoa! Sentenced to spend my cursed life within these stone walls, repenting forever for my great sin. How much better it would be to rest with thee in that frightening place I dread so much.
Dear husband.
Were I not a coward, I would take the plunge myself as did you that fateful day, still seared into my memory.
Dear Angelo. The greatest sin is mine.
Sweet angel, you know not even the meaning of the word sin. All the fault for this unhappy state of ours is mine. I let myself be swept by the winds of unholy desire into the clutches of carnal sin.
As did I.
The dividends of my licentiousness stands before me now, the ghost of dear Carina.
No, it is not the way it is, or was, Angelo. The truth is much different from what you perceive to be the action in this drama. Here, touch me. Feel that I am as corporal as you.
Away!
Let me hold you once again, dear husband.
Away!
Let me kiss once more those lips I've missed so long, and again be held warmly in these arms for whom I have strayed so far so long. Forgive me, Angelo.
Forgive you. It's I, not you, that let passions rule my...
No, it is I who needs forgiveness for a grievous deception, dear Angelo. I never jumped from the bridge.
What? A ghost that lies.
Oh, the lie is I never drowned.
Really? On second thought. Come here, let me squeeze your arm. Fairly fleshy for a ghost.
The only ghost within these walls is the memory of our happy time.
Let me kiss you. I'll know whether you're a ghost. I've been deceived indeed. I recognize the softness.
Forgive me.
It would seem deception breeds deception. Why? Why this tormenting lie?
Indeed, I beg forgiveness, but the fault is not all mine.
Not all yours. It wasn't I who...
When father told me of your filthy fornication with that horrid witch, I was hurt.
Oh, the...
Call her what you will, but to me she was a witch.
Which may be a stretch.
Witch.
Well, for sure she was no warlock.
I could not stand the thought the pecker that pecked that enchantress could ever again peck me.
We're at a loss for words.
Daddy was as much aggrieved, for he had once himself suffered from that disease that comes from shady encounters, and did not want me to be similarly affected.
So he...
Assisted me in the deceit.
See, it was he who spread the story of your demise. And of seeing your slender hand rise one last time above the waves. Oh, what a liar!
Wait. There's more.
More? What more can there be? For 5 years, I've begged forgiveness every day for having caused you to drown yourself, when all the time the only drowning was me in a puddle of endless tears.
I said I was sorry. You shouldn't have been unfaithful.
There's some truth to that, but this punishment greatly exceeds the crime. Well, what more? What more? You said there's more?
A child.
What do you mean, a child?
Well, a child. You know, one of those things.
I know what a child is, but what are you talking about? Stop playing with my patience, Karina.
I was pregnant when I left you.
What?
Pregnant. You know, with child.
I know what pregnant is, Karina. What do you mean you were pregnant?
I was with child.
No! Well, how could it be? And what happened to the child?
He's in the anteroom with my sister.
What? Am I dreaming? Dear God, deliver me from these visions. Wait, let me pinch myself, for I cannot believe this is happening. Ow.
It's happening.
Are you saying I have a child?
Indeed. You have a child.
But we were married such a short time, and I was so...
Awkward.
Yes, awkward. But apparently, well,
Equipped? Yes. The blessed gift was implanted after just one, well, after a few encounters we had, in our matrimonial bed, while we were still married. It was a surprise to me as well. I mean, only after months in Verona where I was hiding did I even know I had a child.
Amazing.
Yes, I was quite surprised myself.
But why didn't you return immediately? That would have been the Christian thing to do.
I wanted to, but Father prevailed I should not let you suffer. Suffer for your infidelity.
And the child? Where is it? Was it a he or a she?
It's a he. Shall I fetch him?
Wait a moment. Let me understand all this. My brain is flooded.
I understand.
Who's out there? I hear laughing. That's not a child.
It's my sister, Lucia.
Out there? Alone with Casanova?
Is that a problem?
Not if he acts quickly. Never mind. Let me see my child. Let's get out there.
Well, I haven't heard screams or lamentations from in there.
A good sign.
Good indeed.
Perhaps the young prince will accept the boy with open arms as well as an open mouth.
You were leaving us, remember, Warden?
I'm reluctant to let Giacomo to remain alone with you.
Alone only momentarily. Only until my dear sister exits the cell with news of Angelo's acceptance or rejection of his child.
I'd like to see that myself, Signorina. If it please, I will remain to keep you safe.
Safe? Safe from what? I see no rats.
The rat standing beside you.
Rat? Huh. The warden hurts me more with his words than with his...
Rat? You don't appear a rat to me.
Because I'm not.
Oh, he's a rat, all right. Look, his nose already twitches.
I see. It does seem ratty.
Allow me the honor of introducing myself. I am Giacomo Casanova, your most humble servant.
turn around.
I beg your
Turn around, I said.
turn.
I want to see your tail.
My tail.
If you be a rat, as the good warden claims, then you'll sport a tail. I want to see your tail. Well, warden, I see but butt. No tail. And not a bad butt at that, I hasten to add.
Be not fooled, Signorina. Casanova is a lady killer. He's left laid spoiled bodies from Genoa to Venice.
The warden amuses himself with fantasies.
I think I can handle myself. Leave us, and take little Carlo. This is no place for a young prince.
But Signorina,
I said leave us.
with all due respect, I look on this precarious situation as a father.
I said leave.
Would I, a father myself of 3 young women, leave even 2 alone with Casanova? Of course not.
Warden, you tire me. Whatever happens this day, I am well decided to see you fastened to the wheel and carted about Padua, broken bones and all.
You convinced me, I'll leave. Don't try to escape the palazzo, Giacomo. I'll hunt you down wherever you might decide to hide. Come with me, little boy.
I am your prisoner. And yours.
You see, already he makes a move.
Get out! Well, I've heard much about you, Signor Casanova. How much of it is true?
Well, that's hard to say. What have you heard?
I've heard you the stamina of a stallion, and as long a stride as well.
Well,
Is it true?
what do you mean, stride?
I'm not impressed, Casanova. Your arms are puny, and those thighs are not very impressive either. And your teeth. Let me see your teeth.
My teeth.
Is there a problem?
All right. Come closer.
This is close enough. Just smile. Handsome teeth. And a pleasant smile.
We've started on the wrong foot.
Because I do not for a moment think I can turn my back to you? Is that the wrong foot? I know men like you, Casanova. Or at least I've heard about men like you. Look what happened to my poor sister, Karina.
What happened?
Carlo happened.
Carlo? The little boy?
Yes. You know,
What?
his eyebrows strangely resemble yours.
Really? Well, you know, eyebrows are eyebrows. And how many eyebrows can there be in the world?
Yes, well, it was a man quite like you, I'm sure. A man of fractured personality. A man without shame, without honor, a cad, a louse, a scoundrel, a man without any possibility of ever entering the kingdom of heaven.
I know such a man.
What?
I said I cannot believe there is such a man.
Well, there is. No, there are. Indeed, most men, I would say, are just a step above the common swine.
I protest.
Pigs. That's what men are. Pigs. Oink, oink, oink.
What brought you to this most unnatural conclusion, Lucia? Moreover, pray that it not be true, for if it be true, you'll be sharing your conjugal bed with a boar.
Oh no, not a bore. If there's one thing I cannot stand, especially in matters of romance, it's a bore. In any case, if I may continue without persistent interruptions.
I'll hold myself back, that is.
For years, and upon years, my dear sister looked forward to attending Carnival.
Carnival, the one in Venice, is my favorite.
What did you say?
Nothing. Pardon my interruption.
Yes, please, hold your tongue if you don't mind. I'm recounting a sullen tale of woe.
I beg your pardon.
Karina looks so forward to attending the big one in Venice. Have you heard of it?
The masquerade ball before Lent?
Yes, that one.
Yes, I've heard. Never been, but heard.
Well, she had specially sewn this marvelous costume and mask encrusted with emeralds and rubies.
Enchanting.
Indeed it was. And she was a vision the Madonna herself, no doubt, would have envied.
And?
Well, she danced with all the young bachelors, waltz after waltz. My sister simply loves gliding across the dance floor in the arms of handsome young men. And she did. Her dreams came through that night.
How wonderful.
Like all dreams, it ended, as did the life she knew up until that moment.
Moment?
A man. A man with hypnotic eyes came to her. Eyes, I imagine, much like yours. He swept her onto the dance floor in his powerful arms. Not puny like yours, his were strong and firm. He took her out on the porch, overlooking the pond outside the palazzo. He kissed her with lips sweeter than grapes. His hands found themselves upon her most private parts, like this, and the other hand like this.
Are you all right?
I could not resist. I mean, she could not resist. Her body exploded with desire. Oh, my dear God!
What? What is it?
My sister lost it right there on the porch in the flicker of the torches to sweet violins under a blanket of stars. Casanova, I want to lose it. Hold me, Casanova. Take me places I have never been before. Take me now.
Lucia, my love, I cannot. The warden.
Explore me, Casanova.
I cannot.
Do not play with me, Casanova. Take me among the stars. Take me.
I must not.
You can. My soul is bare. My lips await.
Oh, your sweet lips, dear Lucia, and plump breasts draw me inexorably.
Yes.
But I fear the warden is just outside. I'll wind up tar and feathered if not drawn and quartered.
I am forsaken.
What's going on in there?
Rescue me!
Rescue who? Well, the gang's all here now.
Where is my boy? My son?
Your son?
Where, knave? Where is he?
Right here, Angelo, behind me. Step forward, boy.
My son.
Your son.
Look! He has your eyebrows.
Let me hold you, sister. Let me hold someone. Are we resolved?
One happy family. Thank God.
Fortunes of one's life abruptly change. Yesterday I was condemned to live the balance of my days forlorn, alone, the prisoner of evil deeds. And now I find myself a married man and father of a 5-year-old boy.
Dear husband.
Who knows what tomorrow brings?
Casanova, so grateful am I for this turn of events that I wish to share good fortune with you who shared the dreariness of my imprisonment.
Oh?
I herewith pardon you for your crimes and agree to pay restitution to the gamers you were wont to cheat.
Good fortune brings good fortune. Don't I know you?
My dear lord, 1,000 thanks, and with it my allegiance. Whatever I can do for you, I will, and more.
Let's all of us unto Venezia to celebrate the end of this trying drama.
Father too will be thrilled the curtain's fallen and the actors are all departed. Come, Carlo.
But
Warden, if we were not traveling unto Venice, I would supervise myself the punishment for your insolence. Now, move away from the door. Come, Giacomo, take me. My arm. I mean, of course, my arm.
all's well that ends well, they say. Well, God knows I pray this one's done. I thought you were with the rest of them, Giacomo.
Well, I planned to be warden until I laid my eyes on little Carlo.
And?
He looks too much like me for peace of mind's sake. The further I am from that hammy crowd, the happier I'll be.
And the young beauty, Lucia, no temptation there?
If temptation be the spice of life, warden, then fear of wheels hath made me boring, in the extreme. Tell me, do you play cards?